Very unsettling encounter with stranger at my door. This happened about 3 years ago, but I still think about it from time to time and it still creeps me out. I had just moved into a new apartment on the first floor of a building. It was late one night and my roommate was out when somebody knocked on the door. This was not uncommon as we were in college and my roommate had friends that would come by to hang out at all hours of the day. I just figured it was one of his friends, so I get up and check the peephole. Staring right back at me through the peephole is an eyeball pressed against it. Again, this is also something that one of our friends might do just to be funny. I chuckled and opened the door, surprised to see a guy in his mid-20s that I didn't recognize. He was strange, to say the least. He was very hyper and immediately launched into a door-to-door salesman type pitch. I can't remember exactly what he was even selling, but it was something about the local university. The whole time he was talking, he kept looking past me into the apartment. He was fidgeting and even standing on his tiptoes to see inside. Still, I just thought the guy was weird and nervous and might not have been all there. I politely declined to buy anything from him, but he wouldn't take no for an answer. I finally had to be pretty stern in telling him that I wasn't interested. He finally accepted defeat, and as I was closing the door, he put his hand out and stopped the door from closing. Before I can be like, "What the frick, dude?" He smiles at me and says, "I like Mario Kart on the Nintendo 64 too." Now me and my roommate had been staying up late into the night playing Mario Kart 64 in my bedroom for the past several days before that. But there was nothing that he could see from the apartment entrance that had anything to do with Mario Kart. I was taken aback and trying to add things up in my head and confusingly asked, "How do you know I play Mario Kart?" He then got super nervous and said, Oh, I just thought that anyone with a couch like that would be into Mario Kart on the Nintendo 64, 'cause you know, it's like a retro game and that's a retro couch. What the heck is that explanation, lol. Then he was like, "Okay, bye," and literally scurried away. I shut the door and locked it. I start trying to put the pieces together on how he could have known that, because obviously, it wasn't because of my grandma's old couch. Remember, it's a first floor apartment that backed up to woods. My roommate got home shortly after that and I immediately tell him about the encounter. He was freaked out too, and so we start investigating. At first, it seemed as if there was no way to even see inside my bedroom. My blinds were always down. We went outside and tested it and found that the only way to see inside would have been if you had your face right up against the window. And even then you kind of had to crouch and close one eye just to get a glimpse of the inside. A couple more creepy details: my window was over a balcony, and the Nintendo 64 console itself was stored inside of the TV stand and was not visible. You'd only be able to see it while we were actively playing, which we never did until we were a little stoned and it was like 2 a.m. So basically this guy had been jumping the railing to our balcony, pressing his face against my window, and watching us play Mario Kart in the middle of the night. Never saw the guy again, but needless to say I was pretty paranoid for a while after that. I constantly checked my windows and woke up in the middle of night paranoid that he was standing just a couple feet away, watching me sleep. Just a very unsettling encounter. I'm glad that nothing more ever came of it, and that I never saw him again, but I have always wondered what his motives were. The man in my backyard. Hi, my name is Anastasia, and a few days ago, something happened that makes me sick. We moved to an East Coast town about a year ago to be closer to family. So close, in fact, that my aunt, her wife, and my cousins are only a 10-minute walk from my house, granted. We are very spaced out and borderline rural despite living about 15 minutes from the outskirts of a big city. I was walking my two little dachshunds back home from my aunt's house. My mom hates it when I'm alone the majority of the day, so I spend time at their house, and I was genuinely enjoying my time. It was cold but quiet and oddly beautiful. I got home, fed my pups and 2 birds, and FaceTimed a friend. I was talking with them and doing chores, and was admittedly being loud and giggly when taking out the trash to the cans on the side of my house. I get back inside, and lay down in bed still chatting, when my bird starts calling at something. Now, anyone who has owned a parrot knows that they have distinct noises for certain moments. She has been in my family for 76 years, and with me my whole life, so I knew the sound was alarm intrigue. I brush it off as her seeing herself in the window reflection and go back to talking to my friend. I get up to get water, and my back is to the sliding glass door, and my friend has the wind knocked out of him. I'm confused, and think he's hurt. He tells me, "Nastia, go back to your room, now." I scoff, but then I see it in my camera view. There is a man with his face and hands pressed up against the glass door. He's a middle-aged white guy in a gray pullover and dark pants, and a grin on his face. My friend, ever the best in panicked situations, tells me don't look at him, just go to your room. I was shaking so hard. I'm blubbering and decide to lock me and my dogs in my closet. My parrot is still going crazy. English isn't my first language, and it's bad when I'm shocked, so I revert back to my native language, which he doesn't know. Luckily, my friend knows to take charge and he tells me he'll be over in 10, and he calls the police. I'm thinking I can run to my mom's room and find the gun, so if the guy comes in the house I can blow a quarter-sized hole in his chest. I'm debating getting up when I hear tapping on my window. It's slow and intentionally creepy, and my stupid dogs start barking. I'm ready to accept my death. I am a teenage girl, home alone, and I am about to die. Wait. My aunt should about to be leaving for work. I shoot her a quick text. The tapping has stopped and I think it's over when I realize something that makes my heart skip a beat. I left the front door unlocked when I took out the trash. This keeps getting worse and I beg my friend to hurry. The tapping thankfully returns to my window and I can only close my eyes and hope that someone gets here fast. It feels like an eternity, crying to another teen who's breaking multiple traffic laws. Never before have I been grateful to hear another man's voice yelling outside my house at 1 a.m. It was my godsent neighbor. Apparently, his pregnant wife was having bad nausea and went out on the deck, and where it's situated. You can see my whole backyard. She got a bad feeling after seeing the unfamiliar man approach my door and woke her husband to check it out. I'll thank God every day for her, because I think she saved my life. I let my neighbors into my house, and my aunt comes about 4 minutes later packing Major Heat, my friend not long after her. I go from home alone to an impromptu house party of concerned people. The police come like 10 minutes later, like they didn't just take 30 minutes to arrive to the scene. On the brighter side, my bird wasn't too alerted by this encounter and went back to eating not 5 minutes later, and my dogs were just happy to see people. My friend has been staying the nights with me since. I'm finding it hard to be home alone, despite the fact that an arrest was made. I'm so thankful that my neighbor had such good instincts, and that my aunt and friend were so quick on their feet, because this could have been a lot worse. So, man at my window, let's not meet. Followed through town. This happened a couple of months ago, and it came to me when I was heading down the highway this morning. Hopefully it counts here. My sister and I live across town from our parents, close to the highway. Our mom and dad had cooked a big meal and invited us over for food. We began our drive down the strip and came to a light. We were sitting when we noticed a guy staring at us. We dismissed it. People look into others' cars all the time, no big deal. The light changed and everyone began moving. We somehow ended up behind the guy, and he was driving obnoxiously slow and wasn't moving to let anyone past him. I finally got an opening and sped up to get in front of him. Since, at this particular time, traffic had gotten heavy, we decided to get off the highway to head through town. The same guy turned off too. I didn't think anything of it because a lot of people cut through town to get out of highway traffic. We continued on our way and I noticed the guy went from his slow pace to riding on our butt like he could have been in our trunk. I sped up just a little because I despise people tailgating me. He sped up too. I sped up some more and began to turn off on side roads where there were houses because I had a feeling he was now following us, or he was just driving like a maniac. It was both. I guess I had pissed the dude off when I overtook him on the highway. He began throwing his hands up, honking, and getting real close and backing off. Every turn I made, he was on us. I had gotten real anxious at this point and was almost flying through stop signs. I didn't want panic too much because I didn't want my sister freaking out. I had to think quick though. I changed my course so I was now heading to where the courthouse and police station was located. I realized that the guy didn't know where we were headed, which I was hoping. I was also prepared to drive straight to our parents' house and have our dad waiting in the driveway when we pulled up. We got close enough to where you could start to see the police cruisers lined up in front of the station. Thankfully, the dumb idiot caught on, slowed way down, and turned off. I'm thankful that I didn't let panic overtake me to where I couldn't think clear to protect my sister and myself. No telling what that nutcase would have done.